A very good evening to everyone. We warmly welcome you to the first week of the course on the Four Noble Truths in Practice. We are very happy to have Dr. Kamal back with us. If you do remember, Dr. Kamal spoke and gave a very lucid and eloquent talk on the fourth aspect of the Satipatthana, Dhammanupassana, which actually made him quite a following and a fan club. Because he explained a very difficult part of the Satipatthana so well. So we are very happy to have Dr. Kamal together with us again. This course, so before we begin and I hand over the session to Dr. Kamal, this course is going to run for 4 weeks starting today. On each day, you will have the opportunity to listen to Dr. Kamal, and also Dr. Kamal will be guiding a brief practice session on the Satipatthana, focused on the Four Noble Truths. And also at the end of the session, you will have the opportunity to address any questions that you might have concerning the Four Noble Truths and its place in the practice. So I do hope that you enjoy today's session that we have collaborated together for you. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you can voice them, or if you do not want to voice yourself at the end of the session, you can also put it on the chat section and we will address the questions at the end of the session. So to those of you who do not know Dr. Kamal, a brief introduction would be Dr. Kamal is a medical doctor. He is also a Dhamma practitioner and has been a Dhamma practitioner and meditator for a long time. He also is a Dhamma school teacher and also conducts teachings on mindfulness for the wider community here in Essex and also other cities around the UK. So thank you very much for being here. And Dr. Kamal, I will now hand over the session to you, Doctor.
Yeah. Bhante, just to let you know, some people trying to admit now. So would you mind just to admit them?
I will handle that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Good evening, everyone. With great respect to Dhamme Hokandra Bhante Panyavansa. So I really appreciate and thank you very much, Bhante, for inviting me. And I'm delighted to see you today on my talk on Four Noble Truths, or the turning of the wheel of Dharma. I believe you can see my PowerPoint on the screen. So there will be an opportunity, like Bhante said, to ask questions. So as this is the first day, I may take some time to go through the background of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or turning of the wheel of Dhamma. Okay, now, so the reference, before I would like to first show the reference in the beginning. So I use the Pali Canon, Samyutta Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and I normally consult Reverend Valimada Jinalankara Thero from New Zealand. So I have telephone conversations most of the time. I think Bhante is going to invite Bhante as well in the future. for Dhamma practice with Dhamma Center. And then I use Reverend Valpola Rahula Thero's What the Buddha Taught, and then some sections of Thanisaro Bhikkhu and Path of Freedom. You can see the website. So what is the aim of today's session? So access to insight of Four Noble Truths, and learn how to incorporate Four Noble Truths into life, opening the deathless path. Okay? So even if you want, you could ask questions during the session if you didn't take anything. Okay, what are the objectives we're going to cover? So our fate and our past life and future life, Buddha's words and planes of existence, why we are in samsara, the turning wheel of Dharma, elephant footprints, Buddha's awakening, two extreme ends, and Four Noble Truths and what to do with them. First Noble Truth. So why did I put what to do with them? Because sometimes, or most of the time, we take this Four Noble Truth, which is the essence of Buddha's teaching, as a concept or academical level, or we take it conceptually, but we do not practice. I'm not referring to you, some people, okay? So then what is our fate? Okay, 1 second, someone is trying to enter. So what is our fate? Now, in case if I die tomorrow, where may I be end up? So as you aware, so there are 31 realms. So I may be end up the material world, fine material world, sensual world. However, sometimes I may be end up in bad destinations, such as like an animal or hell realm. So there is no guarantee. So where I am going to end up. So that is our fate. So then why we are in samsara? So we got ignorance. I am sure you were listening 12 weeks chain of Paticca Samuppada or dependent origination very recently, and you learn what is avidya. So it means the ignorance. It means not knowing, especially Four Noble Truths. So if we know the Four Noble Truths, so we don't have avidya. If you use our wisdom correctly, appropriately, we can eradicate avidya. So because of avidya, I've been in samsara long time, and I don't know when I am going to end, where I am going to end. If you could remember the first session of Paticca Samuppada, or the dependent origination, which been organized by Bhante Panyavansa. So the Bhante who delivered the session said, in Temia Jataka, so when the Buddha was a prince of Temia, so he said, he seen that he been in samsara about 800 years in the hell. Okay, so that's why he thought in that story says, yeah, that's why he decided not to become a king and just go on forth. Okay, so therefore, if you can, I just remind you, you remember there are 12 links in this law of dependent origination, starting from avidya, ignorance. So then we're going through the bhava. So I'm going to explain you later exactly what bhava or becoming means, yeah. So sometimes we have bit lack of understanding or misunderstanding. So at this point, so we need to be aware. So we are in samsara, been in samsara, now in samsara, and going to be in samsara because of ignorance. So then what is the solution? So we know our fate now. So then the solution should be to eradicate ignorance. Okay, so we all be today here to learn and try to practice how to eradicate ignorance. Okay, so then the Buddha's first sermon, I'm really happy to give a talk on Buddha's first sermon, we call Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or turning of the wheel of Dharma. So, however, we need to follow 3 steps, whatever the Dhamma talk you're listening to, either Paticca Samuppada or Chaturarya Satya, no Four Noble Truths. So what are the 3 steps? Don't take this just as a concept, please. Yeah, I know you don't. Number 1, listening. Buddha said sunata. So we need to listen properly and just bring your attention to the present moment. Don't think about the past or future, what you learned before. Just listening very carefully. Number 1, dhareta, so bearing or understanding what we're talking today. Number 3, the most important thing, charata dhammi, sunata dhareta charata dhammi. So we need to practice it. Without taking as a concept, we need to reflect on that. Okay, so that's the most important thing we need to remember. Okay, then the turning of the wheel, Dhamma wheel, 7 weeks after enlightenment, Buddha delivered to his five friends, if you like, Kondanja Badhya Vappa Mahanamassaji, so 5 ascetic monks at Varanasi Nisipatana in India. Okay, so this is the sermon we're going to talk about today. So what Buddha said in this sermon, as we have very limited time, so I'm going to make it very short. So, but you have time to ask questions at the end. So Buddha said, there are 2 extremes we need to ignore. We need to devote if someone going on 4. So what are they? One is the sensual pleasure. Buddha said, Kama Sukhallikanu Yogo, because they are unbeneficial, unprofitable, ignoble, vulgar, and common and base. And the second one, the self-mortification or self-affliction, which is painful, ignoble, and unprofitable. Okay, so these are the 2 extremes we have to ignore, we have to eradicate, and we need to go in between, which is called Majjhima Pratipada, or the middle path. Okay, that we're going to talk in details in the 4th week. So avoiding both of these extremes, the middle way realized by Buddha, leads to calm, to direct knowledge, to self-awakening and unbinding. So then once Sariputta Thero said, the Buddha's one of the chief disciples, friends, just as the footprints of all legged animals are encompassed by the footprint of the elephant, and the elephant's footprint is reckoned the foremost among them in terms of size. In the same way, all skillful qualities are gathered under the 4 Noble Truths. So whatever the Dhamma, whatever the Buddha's teaching you heard, they all comes in this like elephant's footprint, all comes under 4 Noble Truths. So why I am saying that? Because what was the result of this sermon? The result was, it is not here. The result was, outcome of the first sermon. So the Kondanja became a Sovan. So it means he attended the first stage of enlightenment called Sotapanna, eradicating the first 3 fetters. So therefore, if we can learn, if we can practice this one, so definitely, so we can succeed. So at least we can get to the first stage of enlightenment, or Sotapanna. Okay, right. So what is 4 Noble Truths? So number 1, this is the noble truth of stress. Okay, or otherwise we call suffering or dissatisfaction. This noble truth of stress to be comprehend. So I have put that in the brackets. This not just learn, we need to comprehend that, number one. Number two, the second noble truth of origination of suffering should be abundant. So that's not to learn, that's not to comprehend, that has to be abundant. So what is number three? The noble truth of cessation of stress, directly we have to experience. And the last one, we have to develop. So Buddha was like a physician. So he found the cause, COVID-19, maybe the disease, that's the first noble truth. So then, so what is the cause? So Buddha found the cause of that, origination of that, coronavirus, so COVID-19. And then the other one, so there is a cure, there is a treatment, or there is a prevention, having a vaccination, that is number three. So, but if you don't take vaccination, if you don't take the medicine, it's not going to be cured. So therefore, comprehending, abandoning, experiencing directly, and we have to develop. Otherwise, if we just listening to this one, nothing going to happen. It's going to be just another academic subject. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to our today's topic. First noble truth. This is the noble truth of suffering, stress, dissatisfaction. I put different translations because sometimes it's very difficult to understand these words, because Buddha said in first place, do not translate my teaching to any other language, to one twin brothers, whenever he just discussed about this. So therefore, some people saying that the life is suffering. That is the first noble truth. Okay, so whatever it is, any factors which may cause stress, dissatisfaction, suffering should be comprehended. Okay, now to be comprehended means we need to grasp mentally. I put in red colors, we need to grasp that mentally, not just listening and just remembering. So then what is suffering? So Buddha said, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, despair, an association with the unbeloved, and separation from the loved ones, and not getting what is wanted. In short, the five clinging aggregates are stressful. So last thing is the one we're going to practice on today, our practical session. Okay, but now the problem is we have a misconception, misunderstanding of what birth means, what aging means, what death means. So we thinking birth means the physical birth. So once I die, so I'm going to have a rebirth. That is birth. That is also birth. Yes, true. And aging. So we thinking, so I was a child, I was a young man, so now I am old. So aging. And death. We think that death is just, so once my physical body biologically died, so I'm going to have a rebirth. Yeah, they are, yes. Now, if you just saw, if you remember from your dependent origination, so where it stops, it says craving, craving cause becoming, and becoming cause then jati, jara, marana, soka, parideva. It means birth, aging, and death. Okay, so in here also, I don't know whether you've been told or whether you read somewhere. That's what I put some references. And then I asked exactly from Bhante Chinalankara. So birth, and it means the birth, aging, and death is not only Buddha talked about this life. Okay, right. So then what is birth? So I have put in red colors. So whatever birth, taking birth, descent, coming to be, an appearance of aggregates, acquisition of sense sphere, Buddha said birth. So therefore, birth is on this first noble truth. It's not just about dying and having a birth, but coming to be an appearance of aggregates, and then disappearance of aggregate, acquisition of spheres called birth. Okay, so then what is aging? Whatever aging, brokenness, graying, wrinkling, decline of force, weakening of faculties, and these aggregates keep on changing. That is called aging. 5 aggregates keep changing. And what is death? Whatever deceasing, passing away, breaking up, disappearance, dying, an interruption in the life faculty, but most important thing, break up of the aggregate. So therefore, we need to remember, Buddha said birth means appearance of 5 aggregates, because Buddha said, in short, the 5 clinging aggregates are stressful. So it means appearance of 5 aggregates, continuation of 5 aggregates, and interruption or breaking up of aggregates called death. So birth, aging, and death. But if you're going to just practice on birth is just birth, someone was born, death is someone died, and the aging is just people becoming old and wrinkling, graying. So that's not going to be comprehend first noble truth. Okay, so later you could ask question if any disagreement. And then I'm not going to explain as taking time the sorrow and lamentation and pain. So pain is the bodily pain, but I wanted to highlight most important thing, the birth, aging, and death. Okay. And then distress, you understand that. Despair, you understand that. And association with, okay. Again here, what is the stress of association of with the unbeloved one? Sometimes some scholars explain that, so we just losing contacts with our relatives, maybe losing bereavement, or we losing our loved ones, family, children. But that is not the only one talking about association with the unbeloved. So you can see there is the case where undesirable, unpleasing, unattractive sights, sounds, aromas, flavors, or tactile. Okay, so it means if the association of the beloved ones means unbeloved one means we have association with people whom we don't like, but that is true. However, unattractive sights, unpleasing sounds, aromas, flavor, or tactile sensations, that is also called association with unbeloved. Okay. Then the other one, separation from the loved ones. So like I incorrectly mentioned before, so the separation from the loved one means, so then someone died or someone left us, okay? So it means we have no association anymore with our loved ones. Yes, that is true. However, where desirable, pleasing, attractive sights, sounds, aromas, flavors, or tactile sensations do not occur to one has no connection. So we're losing contact with them. So that is separation from the loved ones. Okay. So then we know we have basic knowledge. So what exactly the stress or the suffering means, right? Okay, then, but most important thing, like I said before, 5 clinging aggregates is in short, Buddha said, 5 aggregates cause suffering. So what are they? So let us concentrate on this one. The clinging aggregate of form, the clinging aggregate of feeling, and clinging aggregate of perception, and clinging aggregate of fabrications, and clinging aggregate of consciousness. Okay, so 5 aggregates or pancha upadana skandha cause suffering. So Buddha said, in short, 5 aggregate cause suffering. But we read all these, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But last thing we bit ignore. Because as Buddha said, in short, but we don't try to understand the last thing, which is the most important thing. Okay, so, but Four Noble Truths. So Sangyutta Nikaya 56:11 says, with its 3 rounds and 12 permutations concerning these Four Noble Truths should be learned. Okay, so what is that? We call that Tiparivatta and Dwadasa. It means 3 rounds times 4. So for each noble truth, it is 12. Okay, so what is that? So this is very, very important. So number 1, observation. So dukkha is the dissatisfaction. So what we have to do then? We have to get krutya jnana, kruta jnana. Okay, so number 1, satya jnana. Number 2, kruta jnana, krutya jnana. And number 3, kruta jnana. So what is satya jnana? We do observation. So we know this is dissatisfaction, separation from loved ones is dukkha, and 5 aggregates is dukkha. So that's called satya jnana because it is the truth. So number 2, that is not enough. So we need to use investigation, which is called krutya jnana. Oh, I'm not going to read this Pali thing. So to comprehend. So that has to be comprehend. And number 3, conclusion. So conclusion means once you comprehend, you are aware that I have comprehended that. Okay, so observation, satya jnana, investigation, krutya jnana, and conclusion, kruta jnana. I'll give you example in a minute. Number 2, samudaya satya, origin of dukkha. That is the satya jnana. It means there is an origin of dukkha. Like I said, COVID-19 virus, that was the origin. So we're talking about on next session, what's the origin and what we have to do that. So origin should be abundant. So COVID-19 virus should be killed. Yeah, so should be destroyed. So then krutya jnana, okay, we are happy. There is no more COVID virus is being eradicated. Okay, so kill means, it's no more, it's there. So number 3, the nirodha, cessation of dukkha, that is the satya jnana. So we can destroy that. So how to experience? So once you experience that krutya jnana, conclusion, you are aware, I have experienced that. Number 4, the path to cease of dukkha or the marga satya. It means to have to develop that. So that is krutya jnana. So once you develop that, you don't have to ask from anybody and get a certificate like some countries do. I have got Sotapanna, so I have got Sakrudagami, or whatever the stage of the enlightenment. So you know your conclusion says Krutya Jnana succeed. I'll give you an example. Just say someone gave you a nice plate of rice. So it is in front of me. So then I need to know this is a plate of rice. This is not plate of soil or plastic or whatever. So that is the Satya Jnana. So I know that what it is. So number 2, Krutya Jnana means I need to eat that because I know it's very smelly, very nice. It may be very tasty. So I need to eat it. So once I have eaten that, I know I am not hungry now. my tummy is already full. So I don't have to ask my partner or my children, am I hungry now? No, you know that because you observed, that is Satyajnana, Krutyajnana, because Satyajnana was you were hungry, but you have seen a plate of rice, and Krutyajnana, so what you did, you have to eat it, but Krutyajnana, you done it, you know that it's been done. Okay, so therefore Buddha said, Tipari Vattang Dvadasang. So in 3 rounds, 12 ways you have to comprehend, abandon, experience, and develop. So today we're talking about dissatisfaction, dukkha. So we comprehending, and Krutyajnana means we need to comprehend. Once we done this, you need to be aware, not as a concept, reflecting on you that we have done it. Okay, therefore, it is not like we remembering the things. Okay, what is dukkha? Yeah, birth, jati, jara, marana, soka, parideva, dukkha, domanasa, upayasa, they all are stress, all are suffering, but we need to comprehend. Okay, then in Dukkha Dukkhatas discourse, Anguttara Nikaya 557, so today we need to understand dukkha. That's why I'm explaining them. So dukkha dukkhata, or dukkhe dukkha, or suffering of suffering. It means to physical and emotional discomfort. Things is there, is not there anymore. Okay, that's called suffering of suffering, because something was there, is born not there anymore. So you unhappy. Okay, and then viparinama dukkha, the suffering of change. So example, I go to watch a movie. So I am on the movie. So after 3 hours, it's finished now. So I don't want to accept the fact that it's finished. So that is called viparinama dukkha, refers to the suffering that arises from an inability to accept change. So when something was there, we need to really understand this, elaborate this. So dukkha means suffering of suffering, means there was something physically, maybe, so it's not there anymore. Maybe someone died, okay, or something destroyed. Dukkha dukkhata. Viparinama dukkha. So we are happy with something, but it's gone now. Because it's not continuing. So that's called, we don't want to accept the change of some happy thing, happy moment. But last thing is the most important one, because first one being told by many religious leaders before Buddha was born. But third one is the only person Lord Buddha identified, the suffering of existence. Existence of what? Not only existence of a physical being, but existence of Pancha Upadana Skandha. So it means the 5 aggregates is appearing and staying and disappearing. So therefore, that is the one we need to learn. If you could remember, now when the wanderer, Upatissa, so when Upatissa met Arahat, what is name, Sanjay, yeah? So Upatissa became after that Sariputra. So when he was a layman, he was looking for how to go on forth. So he met accidentally Arahat Assaji. So what he asked from Assaji, he said, you look very calm and quiet. I like your posture. I like the way you're walking. Who is your teacher? So what Buddha said, what Assaji Tero said. Assaji Tero said, Yedamma hetu pabhava, tesang hetu tathagato ah. Te sanchayo nirodo evang vadi mahasamano. Very simply explain the Sankara Dukkha, or the Paticca Samuppada, or dependent origination And the meaning of that is, my teacher is the one who told me. I don't know much about my teacher, but I know as a matter of fact, he told me whatever arises as a result of condition, it stays and is disappeared when condition is not there. So hearing that first two lines, he became Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment. Okay, now 38 past, yeah. Okay, now 5 aggregates. So we said, number 1, material form. Number 2, feeling. Number 3, perception. We call Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. Material form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Okay, so what's happening then? So whenever we see something, because our eyes always like to pleasing forms, ears like to pleasing sounds, and nose pleasing aromas, tongues pleasing flavors, body tactile sensations, and intellect pleasing ideas. So please remember the very last thing which we're going to use today on our meditation practice. So feeling of I, me, and mind, ego, or sakkaya ditthi is the biggest problem, because we think I is me, I am the I is in me, and I am in the I. So therefore, I am the one who see, or intellect. I am the intellect. Intellect is me. Intellect is in me. I am in the intellect. So there are 20 types of Sakkaya Ditthi, or 20 types of sense of ego. Okay, so it means 4 times 5. So I am the I is me, I am in the I is in me. So therefore everything seen by me, everything heard by me, everything thought by me. Okay. Then, so whenever we see an object, so we have either pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, indifferent feelings. Okay. Pleasant, unpleasant, indifferent, sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, upeksha, or adukkama asukha vedana. Then there is a conceptual dimension. So we're going to recognize that. We call that sanya. Okay, let's give you example in a minute. So then we're going to have sanya, perception. So once I saw it, then I'm going to think about that. Finally, it causes volitional action, mental formation, which is moral dimension. So please remember, so perception is conceptual dimension. It's like a concept. It's not real, it's concept. Because the way you see a flower and the way I see a flower is different. So it means it's a concept. And then moral dimension, the mental formation, the conditions respond to the object of experience. So either I am going to have volitional actions by my body, or by my speech, or by my mind. Okay, we call Kaya Sankar, Vachi Sankar, and Mano Sankar. Okay, then what's happened? Then the birth of I conscious. Here it is birth now. Okay, and the birth of ear conscious, birth of nose conscious. So after some time, these 5 aggregates die. So then death occurs. So birth occurs. So birth of what? The birth of material form in my eye, because I saw an object. Birth is there. So then once it's gone through all these 5 steps, then I have a different birth now. So I see a different object, or I'm not seeing anything. I'm going to hear a nice sound, or I'm going to have a nice taste. So all the time, 5 aggregates, jati, jara, marana. So giving birth, decaying, and dying. Then after that, new birth. Okay, so that's what Buddha said. Anichavata sankhara uppada vaya dhammino uppajjitva nirujjantu te sangvupa samo sukho. So that's what we normally say, being around the dead body. But Buddha did not mean for us to do that. Buddha said, look at this body, not you talking about, not thinking about this man died, he is going to have a birth. You don't have to have a Buddha to say that. So there were many people, religious leaders knew that once person died, he's going to have a rebirth. But what Buddha said, whatever, while it means as a condition, something is appearing, once condition is not there, that is no more. That's what Buddha said, jati, jara, marana. So once it's happening, we're going to have soka, parideva, sorrow, despair, lamentation, distress, because we can't accept the fact, the birth, decaying, and dying, because we always like that, because we attach to that. Okay, now, why it is happening? Because we have ayoniso manasikara. The mind is drifting to the past and future. So creating wrong view, wrong intention, and wrong attention. We're going to talk in details the last day of our thing. Okay, now you can see there is a baby, okay, and there are nice flowers, there are nice cakes, okay. So when you see cake, it's nice view. So we can sometimes smell the cake if it's not it was not a picture, and then we can taste it, yeah. And we can hear that people talking about who made this cake, who baked this cake, very, very nice, yeah. So this is the material form. These flowers, material form. These babies, material form. So now let's talk about how this causes suffering, okay. So see now, so once we see in the baby, so we have pleasant feeling, okay. So once we had pleasant feeling, we recognize and identify that experience as a concept. Oh, how nice baby, how very nice, very tasty cake, yeah, and very, very beautiful flowers. So what's happening after that? Moral dimension, mental formation. So I want to hold the baby. Otherwise, I want to pick the flower, yeah, pluck the flower, or I want to eat the cake. So we're making now mental formation, either by the body, or we talk about the cake, how nice this cake, who has baked this cake, how beautiful flower, okay, how nice baby, whose baby is that? So we're making now volitional actions which become a seed to plant another karma. So we thinking about that's going to happen in the next life. Of course, it's going to happen in next life, but Buddha mean that not exactly the next life. It's happening all the time. So one five aggregates is birth, is decaying, that five aggregates dying, another five aggregates birth, decaying, dying. Okay. So then what's happening after that? Then we're going to have vijnana. So if it was something to do with seeing, so we have now eye consciousness, okay? Now, the time is 47, so we're going to have a small meditation session. So what we need to do, please sit upright. Let your arms rest in your lap. Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Please look at this cute baby very nicely, very clearly. So I'm not asking you to think about anything, just look at these babies. we're going to experience the death, decaying, and birth, okay, of 5 aggregates. Now look at these flowers, please. You may have pleasant feeling, you may not have pleasant feeling. I don't know, it depends. As I said, a nurse in Manchester had unpleasant feeling and she killed 10 babies. But we may like to hold the baby. And I may like to destroy these flowers or I may like to pluck them. Okay, the last one, the cakes. Okay, now hearing the bell, please close your eyes gently. Please bring your attention to the present moment, sitting upright, gently closing eyes. Concentrate on the bell. Concentrate onto the bell. Bring your attention to the present moment, listening to the bell. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Okay, now I am going to induce your thoughts, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to induce 5 aggregates. Now we keeping our eyes closed. Now just pop in your mind and see what's happening in your mind. Remember, we saw 2 babies. We have seen flowers. I'm not putting adjective, it is up to you. I'm not saying cute babies. I'm not saying beautiful flowers. I'm not saying nice cake. It's up to you. So just pop in your mind and see what your mind says about these babies and about flowers, about cakes. Please notice, because we have only 10 minutes to do this meditation, but this is just training. You could practice once you go home. So pop in your mind and see whether you got pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or indifferent feelings. As you've been practicing meditation with Bhante long time, you may have no pleasant or unpleasant feeling. You may have indifferent feeling, which is good. Can you see now one feeling arise about the cake is dying, another feeling arise about the flowers is dying, another feeling arise about baby is dying, keep on changing. Can you see Jati Jara Marana? Please comprehend that. There is a birth of 5 aggregates. There is a death of 5 aggregates. Please see that not as a concept, just reflect on you. I give you 1 minute to be silent and just see what's happening in the mind. Please see the death and funeral of 5 aggregates. Sorry, birth and funeral. Observing appearance and observing disappearance. Now, if it has made you to think about the baby, it means the conception. Don't think about, try and see why you thinking, because you had pleasant feeling. So once that pleasant feeling, if you see it is anicca, dukkha, anatta, these feelings are impermanent, non-self. You can't change them. They just keep on changing on their own. So five aggregate is having a birth. For some time it's there, decaying and dying. So if they have birth and death, what is the point we get attached to them? So see the appearance and disappearance of five aggregates, then it won't cause any vijnana. If you had a feeling to hold that baby or pluck a flower or eat the cake, just see in your mind what it caused. It caused your Vedana, your pleasant feeling. So once you eradicate that feeling, no more conception, no more mental formation, no more karma, no birth, no death. This is called samsara. So please be in your samsara for next 5 minutes and see the birth of aggregates, decaying of aggregates, and death of aggregates. If your mind is distracting you, just assume your mind is the sky, thoughts and emotions are clouds. So let clouds pass by the sky. So let them go. Don't attach to the feeling of baby, feeling of flowers, feeling of cakes. Let these thoughts pass by. So keep your mind still like the sky is still, and let pass by the sky, the clouds. So let's pass by your thoughts of the baby, of flowers, of cakes. Let them go because they are impermanent, anitya, appear and disappear, birth and death. And they non-self, we can't control. If we can control, of course, we all would have attained Nibbana. And whenever baby is not staying in my mind, it causes dissatisfaction because baby's feeling move on to the cake's feeling, and then my feeling moves on to the flowers. All the time, appearance, disappearance, birth and death. We call that bhava, becoming, bhava paccaya jati. observing mind, observing appearance of desire, observing disappearance of desire, observing another desire is appeared, observing that desire is gone. So once the condition is not there, the rest of the things not there. So they all conditions. Because of Vedana, you have everything pleasant. Then we try to attach to that pleasant feeling. Don't attach. But you're not trying to forget the baby, but you're trying to understand the feeling and be aware it is to be abundant. Pleasant feeling is to be abundant, then it's not moving to the conception, mental formation, or no more vijnana. So each moment we dying, we decaying, we have a rebirth. That is called becoming or bhava. Comprehend, investigate, experience, and develop. Satyajnana, Krutajnana, Krutyajnana. 3 rounds, 4 types. Tiparivattam Dvadasam. When you can't see the baby, it causes suffering. Why? Because we had a pleasant feeling that we have to eradicate that feeling, not turning away, but just understanding. So listening to the 3 bells, bring your attention to the present moment, pop out from your mind. Listening to the 3rd bell, open your eyes gently. Okay, thank you very much, and sadhu to Bhante. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to induce our 5 aggregates. So I had to induce your 5 aggregates, making you to think about these 3 things. But you may have had different thoughts anyway, because I can't make you to think. That's the mind. So very important thing I need to highlight, Buddha said 16 times in this sermon, Pubbe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkung udapadi, jnanang udapadi, vidya udapadi. It means friends, this is the teaching I never heard before. So Buddha heard about whenever he was a shield behind the high walls and high gates when he was the Prince Siddhartha, but he could not be shielded out from these the realities like five aggregates and things. So therefore, this is the teaching Buddha has never heard from anyone else, not from any religious leader in India. So that's why he said 16 times, Pubbe Ananusute Sudammesu Kundanja. So you realize that and you became Anya Kondanja. You attain the first stage of the enlightenment, Sotapanna, because he was comprehending and experiencing, developing five aggregates. Okay. Any questions, please, or any comments?
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamal. We have a request from Susan that you induce the five aggregates next week. So maybe you could possibly do that. Is that in your...
Yeah, I'm going to induce five aggregates every day. Yeah, every time. Because if no five aggregates, if we can't see the five aggregates, we never become, we go not going on forth. So I always induce my aggregates on me. Like when you take a person with epilepsy to hospital, so doctors need to do EEG, but person has no epilepsy now. So then how can they do EEG? They induce epilepsy. Yeah. So likewise, I induce your five aggregates and I let you to observe that. But I'm letting you to see the birth, decay, and the funeral. So that's why I give three things: baby, cake, and flowers. But this is all about pleasant feelings. But next time we can take unpleasant aggregates.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Kamal. Now we are opening up the session for question and answers that you might have. You can you can unmute yourselves and ask the question directly, or you can put it down in the chat. So do we have any questions at the moment? So up until questions do come, Dr. Kamal, something that we often see is with regards to the practice. Now, with the Dukkha Satya, we speak about Dukkha, the different types of suffering that people undergo in the world.
Yeah.
Now, when we speak about the different types of suffering that we as sort of beings undergo in the world, we then feel a sense of urgency, but this urgency might arise to continue along the Sukha Patipada.
Absolutely, Bhante. And the other thing is, I really like, Bhante, you also answer the questions and you also give your own view because you have qualification to do that. I am just having a lay life with all, just my five aggregates being induced every time. Yeah. So, but not like you. So you have more experience, you have more qualification to answer these questions. And I really appreciate you can add something onto this.
Well, Dr. Kamal, it's difficult for me to ask the question, answer it also. That doesn't...
No. I mean, if you any questions comes from the platform, I mean.
Yes. So, Dr. Kamal, what is your advice to people when it comes to, because we do find people come into the Dhamma practice with a sense of fear, but this fear is not the buyer that the Buddha spoke about. It could have more inclination towards Sukha Patipada rather than Nivan, rather than enlightenment. What is your advice on that regard?
Fear of what, Bhante?
Well, fear that
fear of becoming or
enjoy, fear that we will go to hell, but to continue along the Sukha Patipada.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Now, yeah, I mean, example, now when I was doing advanced level, so some people became doctors, some people became engineers, some people teachers, carpenters, or so depending on what we done, how we done. So now when we talk about realms, so if you had Sukha means, did you mean Bante gathering Punyabhi Sankara? Is that what you mean by Sukhapati
Sukha
Pada?
Vedana.
Sukha Vedana.
Sukha Vedana.
Okay, you're talking about, all right, okay. Right, yeah, I mean, but what Buddha said, so because I can't just give my quote, so what Buddha was saying, so what is Sukha Patipada? And people think Sukha Patipada means exactly we just enjoying things, like Buddha being in having a luxury life. He had Sukha Patipada. So, but Sukha Patipada means really sensual pleasure with reference to sensual object. But Buddha is saying that is base, vulgar, common, ignoble, unprofitable. So Sukha Patipada is good. Whenever the Mahanama Sakya, the relation to Buddha, once came to Jetavanarama and asked Buddha, we are having Sukha Patipada. So we have sensual pleasure. So what should I do, Buddha? Because I am very scared. I may go to hell. So, but Buddha said, I know as a layman, Mahanama, you are doing that way. Your behavior is that, but no harm as long as you don't do any bad deeds, such as 10 immoral acts, which we do by our mind, by our body, and the speech. So therefore, we can practice sensual pleasure as long as we don't do any immoral deeds, at least with verbs and speech and body, because the mind sometimes not that easy. Yeah. So therefore, I don't think they have to be scared, because if we gather punya bisankara, it means the good merits. So we may at least go to sugati, so immaterial world or fine material world. But in case if we go to sensor world, if we become a man, human, that is fine. But who knows? Where is the guarantee? We can't take that as granted. That is the trouble. That's why I put this word, our fate. Because what happened is, Bhante, anxiety, there are two types of anxiety. One is we anxious for something, and then we anxious for becoming anxious. That is another anxiety. So therefore, what we need to do, first we need to get rid of the second anxiety, because I am scared. Okay, I may be having a birth in a bad realm, so I am anxious. And then I am anxious to be anxious. So to double anxiety then. So I mean, we don't have to be anxious. As I said, I don't know what's going to happen to me once I die, tonight maybe, but there is no point. So Buddha said, appamado amata padang, pamado machuno padang. So it means, let us bring your attention to the present moment and see everything as anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent, non-self, and causes suffering. Because why we are anxious? Either we think about something about the past, or planning the future, or thinking about future. But if we can bring our attention to the present moment, where your mind get time, and mind has no room to be anxious, because we give room to our mind to be anxious or distressed or whatever.
Yes, and from the other side, and from the other part of things, the more apunyabhi sankhara that a person does develop, it does not help with anxiety. Rather, it just increases the anxiety that we have. Absolutely. Because of the three roots which has moha in it.
Absolutely, absolutely right.
Of moha being restlessness and doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
Doubting yourself, and the anxiety arising from the restlessness attribute of the moha.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can gather merits. Buddha's teaching is punya papa pahinas. No pin, no pow, no merits, no sins. So that is the Buddhism. But better to do, better to gather credits rather than doing things.
Yeah.
So, but the Punya Abhisankara, like Bhante said, is just very, very vulgar, again, very common, yeah, unbeneficial. Well, we will benefit. We may go to heaven, but who knows how long we're going to be there. So after once our all the merits run out, what's going to happen? Therefore, we overlook our life. That's the trouble.
Because we are speaking about heaven, the other aspect of heaven, Dr. Kamal, is from, it is a higher plane.
Yeah.
And as the Buddha explains, to go into a higher plane, the mental state by which we live with must be higher as well.
Yeah.
We cannot expect ourselves to achieve into a state of a higher plane whilst having this same mentality. So in the process of doing punya or kusala, if we are still clinging on to the same aggregates and attributes of sensual pleasure, that person will probably not go to heaven.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Now, if you just read what's that? There's a discourse about 10 people. Buddha said. So people think because okay, now once I remember the discourse, I'll let you know. But see now, like Bhante said, now there are 3 sankharas, 3 formations: punyabi, apunyabi, and aninjabi. So at least if we can collect aninjabi sankhara, so we can go to maybe immaterial world or fine material world, though they are not good anyway, because one day we have to come down again, unless we at least we got sotapanna and go to immaterial world. But if we comes to sensual world, then kamaloka, we don't know what's going to happen. Because the story I talk about, there was it is called Migajala Sutta, I think Majjhima Nikaya. So there were 2 brothers. So one brother was not doing any bad deeds. The other brother is doing certain things, not too bad, however. So, but the both of them ended up in the same realm. Okay, so one got anagami, the other one not anagami, but the same realm. So then his wife met Ananda Thero and said, "Dear sir, so what is this nuisance? So my father was such a good man, so he didn't even, was not with my mom. Yeah, he was just living separately. So my uncle, yeah, so brother, father's brother, so his behavior was like this. However, he also ended up in the same place. So what is this nuisance? I don't believe what Buddha said." So then Ananda Thero went to Buddha and mentioned that what she told. Then Buddha said, Ananda, don't listen. Now, how can she argue with my Buddha Jnana? And Buddha, there is no time for us to talk about that. So there are 10 people, Migajala, that lady's name was Migajala Bamini. So go and tell to Migajala, there are 10 people. I just give only 2 people. One is always doing sins and going to hell. The another one is always doing sin, but go to heaven. And there are 2 other people. One is always gathering punyabhisankara, going to heaven. The another one, always punyabhisankara, but going to hell. Okay. So it's a long story in Majjhima Nikaya. So therefore, there is no, don't take as granted if I do always good stuff. It all depends on what's going to happen when I am dying. Yeah. So therefore, there is no guarantee that we do sin, we go into apaya. When we do punya, we go into heaven. It's such a complicated thing. Karmic effect is very complicated. So please read Majjhima Nikaya Migajala Sutta, Discourse of Migajala. Not Migajala. There is a sutta called Migajala, but this is Migajala. Buddha saying about 10 people.
Yes. So do we have any questions from the participants? Anything that you would like to ask, Dr. Kamal?
Yeah, please ask any questions. If you want, I can pull up the PowerPoint.
Yes. So up until we have any questions, Dr. Kamal, can we speak a bit about Upekha? Now, with regards to the dukkha satchan, that which we sort of experience as dukkha or other phenomena that we experience through the five senses, we do speak a lot about this sense of having this equanimity towards the experience that we have. And of course, I know that with the other weeks we'll have to go into this as well. But in the sense of upekha, there is a very high chance of sort of mistaking upekha with a sense of not caring, or with a sense of, we use a term sort of indifference, but indifference not in a kusala way, but in a way of sort of ignoring. Now, how can this be balanced off?
Okay, now we know metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. Yeah? So upekha is the equanimity. So what is equanimity? So whenever you see, just let me give two examples which Buddha gave. You see someone is having very luxury life, okay, and the other one is very poor. So then equanimity means, so we're not going to just say, oh my God, this man is very rich. So see what a luxury life he is spending. And then look at this beggar, he's very poor. I don't know why really he's in such a place. So it means in that sense, you have no loving kindness, you have no compassion, but equanimity means you think that this man has worked for that, or he has good karma, so that's why he's enjoying his life. Okay, so then that is the upekha in one explanation. So, and then you think, okay, this beggar, so this one maybe he deserved that. He didn't do anything, so he was just made his life miserable on his own. Maybe this could be effect of his karma. So we have a balanced view rather than just being jealousy or getting angry. Yeah. So when someone is asking money, well, you have two legs and two arms, just go and work. So why you asking money from me? Why you begging? Yeah. So then that's not equanimity. And then the other thing equanimity means, upeksha means, we said sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, upekha vedana. So upekha means no pleasant feeling, no unpleasant feeling. So we have neutral feeling. However, that neutral feeling still have a part of ignorance, because we think Buddha said sattva pudgala prajnapti. It means we also see like a being there. So I mean, conceptually, so we think that though, just say there's a phone, yeah. So I have upekha feeling about this because I don't like it. I don't dislike it. So therefore I have upekha feeling, but still I am ignorant, which means I have that equanimity or the upekha feeling, not really understanding that because I don't just simply like it, or otherwise I simply don't dislike it. So still ignorance is there. So Buddha said in one of the couple of sutras, so you need to understand, use the yoniso manasikara and see any object, even when you use the equanimity. So again, you have the sense of ego. So it is me and I am it. That feeling is mine. So I am in that feeling. So still I have upekha feeling because I have that 20 sakkaya ditthi factors.
Yes, yes.
So don't we have any questions from our participants, or you haven't understood me, or
I
not
think,
agree with anything, or
so if there is anything, this is, we have 5 minutes more.
yeah, I mean, this is very, very deep, deep teaching. So that's why we can't just take only, I mean, if one read only Samyutta Nikaya 56, like, you won't have full understanding, because Buddha did not explain exactly what is birth in that sermon. I mean, what is jati, what is jara, what is marana. So that's why you have to read Majjhima Nikaya 28, Majjhima Nikaya 41, Anguttara Nikaya 157, with elaborative talks given by Reverend Sariputta. So in those places, it's been elaborated exactly what birth is, what decaying is, what jati, jara, marana. So therefore, if you read only Samyutta Nikaya 56.11, so you may not get all these explanations. That's why we need to learn in depth. And then when I discussed with Velimada Jinalankara Thero, he gave me a good explanation from Pattan, which I didn't want to go that depth. I mean, what's happening with Chitta Viti? Yeah, so how we end up with the Vedana, which is not going to Sanya Sankara. So because if you have questions, then I know how to tailor my next session next week.
Yes. So I think there are no questions, Dr. Kamal. So what we will do is we will look forward to any questions that you might have on this session next week. The recording will be available. Oh, we have a question from Lakshmi. Yes, go ahead, Lakshmi. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yes, Lakshmi, miss. Yeah.
Lakshmi, you are unmuted. Please ask your question.
Yeah. Doctor, it was very, I mean, I understood lots of things you said. One thing I didn't understand was types of suffering, dukkha, in Dukkha Sutta.
Yeah.
Between the Viparinama dukkha and the Sankara dukkha.
Yeah.
You said that the Sankara dukkha is Paticcasamuppada, isn't it?
Well, as I said, legged foot explanation given by Sariputta Thero. Now, see now when we go to a fourth noble truth, so which explains the noble eightfold path. Okay, so in the noble eightfold path, we have right mindfulness. So under right mindfulness, again Paticcasamuppada comes. So that's the thing. So therefore, when you learn the Four Noble Truths, so you learn all the other animals' feet. So that's why. So now here see what is Paticcasamuppada. So avidya paccaya sankara. So ignorance is causing and then formation. So formation causing consciousness. So like that is going up to upadana. So upadana, so once upadana is the one causing bhava, and bhava is the becoming. So bhava means becoming. In this life, all the time we're becoming. So then it causes birth, aging, and death. So therefore, it all comes under Four Noble Truth. So dependent origination could be explained in Four Noble Truth. And again, Four Noble Truth could be explained in dependent origination.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so in terms of the thing you asked, Dukkhata Sutra, so if I just pull it up, yeah. So what Dukkhata Sutra says, there are three types of dukkha. So dukkha dukkhata, viparinama dukkhata, sankhara dukkhata. So anything physically had and is disappeared, then we have suffering that comes under the suffering of suffering.
yeah.
And we've been enjoying nice song or nice movie, so
Yes.
it's gone now. So that is viparinama. It means we are not ready to accept that. But why these two things happening? Because of sankhara dukkha, because of panchupadana skandha, suffering of existence. Existence of what? Not existence of a people or being. That is also one type of existence. But Buddha said clearly existence of five aggregates, because it's appearing, and it means, as I said, upadavaya, ativim and ativim, so appearance and disappearance.
So sankhara dukkha is, we have to understand in a very broad sense.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, sankhara dukkha in the one, Miss Lakshmi, we have to understand. So it means we need to comprehend, we need to abandon the origin, and we need to experience, and we need to develop. So otherwise, if someone is practicing dukkha dukkhata or viparinama dukkhata, we not practicing Buddhism. Yeah, because most important in sankhara dukkhata, five aggregates. Because see now, as I said, so this end up in becoming. So why becoming? So when we become, so becoming means all the time. Now I am having five aggregates. So in a second, another five aggregates. So once becoming is there, it causes jati, jara, marana. So because of that, it causes suffering. So, but if we can understand these five aggregates are impermanent, non-self, it causes suffering, we're not going to attach to that.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes, very much. I am very grateful for that.
Okay, that's fine. Because this is the one, Lakshmi Miss, we need to, okay. Much means, okay. Yeah, it's a feedback. Thank you very much for your feedback.
All right, so we have come to the, it is 8:30, so we will have to close the session. We will have the second part of the series happening next week, same time. If you do have any questions after you sort of look at or go through the recording of the session, which is now available up on our YouTube channel, please do bring those questions in for next week's session. I know that Dr. Kamal will be very happy to answer anything regarding to practice, or even things that you've heard regarding this subject, not within just this course, but even outside. Please feel free to come in and sort of dispel any doubts that you might have regarding this sort of part of teaching. This part of teaching is absolutely essential to anyone who wants to sort of progress in their practice. So having a sound understanding of the Four Noble Truths is absolutely vital. And even in the path of practice with regards to Vipassana, the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, especially this first one, forms a base for Vipassana to arise into anicca, understanding of anicca, dukkha, and atma. So make sure that you make full use of this course to ask any questions and to sort of bring about clarity of mind with regards to the Four Noble Truths. Dr. Kamal, on behalf of all the participants and of course on behalf of everyone from the Dhamma Center, we would like to thank you for volunteering to conduct this course for us. We look forward to having you again, of course, next week and the weeks after, and to listen to you and to listen to your very eloquent dispensation of the Dhamma. Thank you very much, and thank you all for joining us today. Take care and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thiruvan Saranai.